What's up, guys? Welcome back to Flatline Detonation. Today we're doing a review on a JDM 205. I picked this engine up for 900 bucks, shipped to my door. I already opened it up when we received it in because I had to verify there was no damages. Initial first impressions are it's really clean for being in a car for 60,000 miles. I wish they'd cover up the valves though, because you could get a little junk in there. I've never seen cleaner timing belt covers on a used engine. These things look like they're brand new. Check out that JDM spec, yo. I know I'm gonna have to replace the crank sensor and the cam sensor with the US version. But overall, this thing looks pretty clean. They did a good job of strapping it down. It's pretty solid on there. Didn't fall over, at least when I was driving, so that's good. Let's go ahead and get it off the truck and onto an engine stand. All right, we got the thing off the truck. Let's get it up front and take some things apart. Empty engine bay. Now we have an engine. So what happened to me putting together an engine? Simply put, it came down to time. I only have a couple more weeks before I have to have this car ready for its first event of the year, and I didn't think I could do it in time. This was readily available, simple. We were only gonna have to do a couple things to it. What I'm gonna show you though is I'm gonna take and fill it up with oil because they ship it without oil. I'm assuming it's a DOT issue and that's why they don't have oil in them. But I'm gonna take and fill it up with some oil. And I'm going to do a compression test on the bench here just to verify that the engine is as healthy as they claim. And then after I do that, I'll drain the oil back out. I'm going to take the valve covers off and inspect what the cams look like. That'll kind of give you an idea of what oil they've been running in them. They look really clean. There's no seeping or staining of any kind that you'd normally see on a US car that has, 160,000 miles. So the mileage seems pretty accurate for how clean the car is. And then we're also gonna have to take this pulley off, take the timing covers off, and then change out the sprocket gear inside of there, change out these two sensors. I'm gonna check over the timing belt. If the timing belt seems like it's, pretty new, I might just run it as is. If not, we'll have to get a new timing belt for it. So let's take you on a journey of tearing this thing apart. This is how I like to bench test these. Just two pieces of pipe, and then that's bolted on there. I bolted the flywheel on, and we'll hook a jumper cable up to a battery, and then we'll be able to turn it over. I removed the spark plugs. The plugs look pretty good. Part number PFR6G, so I'll have to look that up, see if that's the factory plug they use in Japan or not. But everything looks good so far. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a compression test. Battery's all hooked up. You've got to send it signal, so we're gonna hook this up. Usually scares the shit out of me every time. Cylinder 1, 180 pounds. Go ahead and check cylinder number 2, 182 pounds. Cylinder number 3. Uh-oh. That's not good. This one seems a little low. I don't know if the rings are kind of sticking or what. I'll put some oil in there and try it again. Cylinder 3. Take 2. Tons of compression now that I dumped oil in there. I think the rings are just not getting enough oil on them. So that's our final number on cylinder 4, 195. I got the same results on cylinder 3 after I put some oil in there. So that kind of brings our total here. $182, $182, $195, $195. I rechecked the first two and I got the same results, so I guess these JDM engines are a little bit more high compression, so it's a good thing I'm running E85. We'll see if I run into any issues. I hope not. I didn't think it would be that much of a difference in compression, but it is. It's what we're gonna work with. The car's gonna get tuned anyway. I'm not too worried about that. So we'll see if it starts to knock at all, and we'll tone it back if it is. But I think with the E85, it'll be more than safe, and we're only running a TD04 to begin with, unless I decide to throw a TD05 that I have laying on the shelf in the back. But I don't think I'm gonna get that aggressive with it, just because I want it to be fun and reliable and not blow up. So I'm gonna start tearing this thing apart now and see what else I find. If there's any issues, I'll let you guys know. So the timing belt looks pretty good. Everything's solid. You can tell it's been sitting a little bit. There's a little bit of oxidation on this pulley here. A little bit of oxidation on the aluminum. It all wipes off pretty good. So I'm gonna verify. I have a US pulley in the basement that's from my other engine I'm putting together. So we'll grab that. We'll verify that's the same on here. So I went ahead and grabbed my crank pulley sensor, whatever you want to call it, and I did confirm they are different, so you do need to change this, otherwise you'll have issues. And then you also need to put in that black crank sensor and then this black cam sensor and replace that red one down there, and then it should basically plug in and start up, but you'll want to get a retune. I'm still really surprised by the compression results of this engine. Again, I didn't put oil in these two cylinders. 1 and 2 I didn't put oil in. 3 and 4 I did, and then I got the 195 on those two, and then 182 on the first ones. I didn't think the compression would be this high on these engines. All the US ones I've done have been 160, so I'll when I put it in, I'm definitely going to do another compression test after I run it for a little bit. I've got to just, break it in, and then I'll change the oil probably every 500 miles until I get a solid tune on the car. Actually, I probably won't even go that far. I'll start it, I'll run it down the road, I'll change it, I'll go get a tune, and then I'm going to dump the oil out again before we go to the track day. Another thing I wanted to point out on this JDM 205 is it doesn't have a timing belt guard like the US version does. It's kind of crazy. I'm just gonna leave it out as, obviously they run it over there and it's fine. I'm pretty impressed. This valve cover is really clean, minus, I mean, that's been sitting in there obviously when they pulled the engine out. It's just kind of dried up a little bit, but there's no oil staining. There's no oil staining in here. The cam lobes look brand new. There's no wear on them at all. The gasket looks brand new. I'm pretty impressed with that. This is a little concerning. It's kind of a milkshake slushy coming out of there. I added about 2 quarts of oil to it just so I could crank it over without running bearings on metal. But it seems like a lot of water got into this engine maybe. Not a lot, but enough that is concerning. I'm kind of upset. The oil pan, I mean, it looks like there was just a bunch of water in here. If you run your finger across this, I don't know. I'm not too happy. I had way higher expectations for these JDM drop-ins than this. I'm definitely gonna have to drain the oil a couple times because I just don't know. So it's day number 2. I went to bed last night. I was kind of upset with this. That's a lot of just junk in the pan. I don't feel comfortable running it. I went ahead and emailed the supplier I got it from, JDM Of Philly. It's from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is where I purchased this from. They reached back out to me and said they'd be fine with me palletizing this back up, shipping it back to them, and then they're gonna send me a replacement for this engine. It kind of sucks because I'm literally gonna have to redo all the things I just did to it. Pulley, the sensors, the timing cover's got to come back off, you know, the whole 9 yards. The exhaust has got to go back on because I'm sure they wanted to receive it back the way it was shipped out. One thing I did notice, this cool JDM sticker here, it says 108,968. Google translation to miles is 65,193. On their website, it shows this engine has 55,000 miles and it has 165 PSI across the board. So I don't know if I'm being foolish getting another engine from them or not. We'll see when I get the second one. Definitely going to go through that one the same way I went through this one. They told me that the process will be, I palletize this, they send a shipping company out, they're going to pick it up, and as soon as they get the notification that's been picked up, they're going to send me another engine right away. So hopefully, not this weekend, but next weekend I'll get the engine in the car. Puts me a week behind of where I want to be. I wanted to have the car actually running this weekend, but it's not going to happen unless I put the engine I'm putting together that's in a million pieces, and I don't have parts for that to put together, so that's 3 weeks out. So I'm getting a little nervous that the car's not going to be ready for the first event, which is June 8th, but I'm going to have to stay positive and just keep sourcing parts and busting some late nights out. Yeah, that's what was left in the bottom of the pan when I drained it out. That's disgusting. I'm so glad they're sending me a different engine. As long as the other one doesn't look like this, we'll be good to go. Oh, hey, look! Another JDM 205. Let's see if this one's any good. So again, first look, they seem clean. But one thing to note is all this gunk on the outside. It looks like they clean these things thoroughly before they send them out, making them appear to be nicer than they really are. Now, I'm being a little negative, but seeing as how the last one was, I'm kind of viewing this one as so. Although it is nice and clean, the bolts aren't rusty, which is good. Timing belt. I noticed this on the last one. It's covered in this oily, almost like a WD-40 cleaner. Again, making it look better than it may be, being negative, but again, none of this is covered. I can see a little bit of oil or water in that cylinder, or that port. Again, some tape would be nice. Same deal on this side. Again, some tape would be nice. It's cheap, cool JDM sticker deal. 107,625. Let's see what that equates to. That equates to 6,875 miles. So it is low mileage as long as whoever pulled the engine out correctly identified it as so. This one, the timing belt is cracked. I have new timing belts, so that's not an issue. The oil fill is cracked, which is not an issue. I have another one. I knew that from the get-go when I looked to replace the last one I had, that I requested this one. Another thing to note about this engine that the last engine didn't have, an oil cooler. So the last engine was an EJ206, which comes in a JDM Legacy, a twin turbo Legacy. Now I'm assuming this is out of some other vehicle, which is a single turbo, because there is only one side of the cylinder heads that is set up to run a turbo. Another thing to note right away, this timing cover has the guards, which I noticed on the last engine did not. So again, there is variations in the EJ205 you are receiving from importers, so be aware of that. I'm assuming this is the compression that it was tested at, which is accurate of the US versions, but we're going to take it off the truck. I'm going to test it, I'm going to take the oil pan off, and we're going to do exactly what I did with the first one to figure out if this one is any good. Before I get crazy and start changing stuff. I'm gonna pull the plug, I clean the pan, we're gonna see what comes out, because I don't want to waste my time. This one was shipped with oil. That's kind of surprising. Last one wasn't. But to take note, the oil is black. So it was used, it was run. It's probably a good thing. Seems to be normal. That of a used engine. A nice thing, it's upside down and you can't really read it, but this oil filter is made in Japan, so it is a higher quality filter rather than the last engine that had a Taiwan. So far, so good. Now let's pull the valve covers off and see what we see under there. This seems more of what you'd find in a US engine. It's not horrible looking, but it's not, you know, brand new JDM, the best thing ever sort of deal that I thought I'd find. Valve cover has, you know, some typical normal carbon staining. Nothing that would be of huge issue, but not as clean as what you'd expect, or at least what I hear of these engines. Same results on the driver's side. It's used, it's oily. There's a little bit more carbon than I would have hoped for, but it's not sludge. I don't know if that's a good thing. I guess we'll pull the pan, see what that looks like. The final test will be literally putting it in the car and seeing, you know, if we have issues. But so far it seems a little better, but it doesn't seem as clean as the last engine. Alright, let's do a compression test again. Starting on cylinder 1. Not good. Cylinder 2 has 151, 52-ish. I'm almost furious. This is ridiculous. 65 PSI. I've tried it 3 times now. Put oil in there. Absolutely ridiculous. They're selling these engines as they're mint condition. Just ridiculous. Cylinder 3, 60 pounds. Cylinder 4, we'll give it high side 86, 87 psi. Yeah, that's good. Don't mind the oily mess. I forgot to put the drain plug in when I started filling with oil. But I just emailed them. I've asked for this thing to be picked up and a full refund given back to me. I'm not happy. This is a bit ridiculous. They're claiming things that aren't true. I don't know if I just picked a bad importer or supplier of these engines. I've heard good things, I've seen good things online, but this is engine number 2. I could see one bad incident, but to send me another one that's just, in my opinion, garbage is ridiculous. The day after I was really pissed off about this thing, I emailed the company. They stated that these things sit a long time and that the valves get gunky, and they wanted me to put it in the car, run it, and then do a compression test again. I noted that the mileage was off. They stated that was because the timing belt covers were swapped because they were cracked. I'm pretty sure this one's still cracked, so that's kind of, in my opinion, a lie. But I just got done putting it in the car, running it for 2-3 minutes because I literally put the bare minimum possible into the car to get it to run. Now I'm gonna go through the same deal, do a compression test, and see if it comes back good. I guess if it's good, I'm just gonna run it. I have no time to be dealing with this. It's $900. It's a lot, but at the same time, it's not a lot for an engine. So here we go. Cylinder 1, so far so good. 178, 79 pounds. I'll call it 179. Cylinder 2, 179 again. That's good. Cylinder 3, again, 179. So far so good. It's all right on the board. They're all within each other. Okay, and cylinder number 4. 180 pounds. So I don't know if I overreacted, or again, maybe these things are still just pulled out of a junkyard and they don't give a shit about what they're giving you. These are final results. Everything was within a pound of each other, so that's pretty good. This engine, the sticker on it, comes out to 66,875 miles. The first engine was 65,193 miles. The compression was a lot higher and a little off all over the board on that one. This one's a little more consistent, nice and even. It's still a little higher compression than what the US engines are, but it'll be fine for E85. I've already got the ID1000s in. This experience for me, I don't know. I don't know if I would do it again or not. I think I'd use a different supplier next time. Somebody that's gonna show you video evidence of a compression test of your engine you're getting. These just seem like they're cheap labor, pulled, chucked on a truck and shipped over to you. I don't know. I don't have much to say on it, so I'm gonna leave it there for now. I've got the reason why I actually put the engine in and then pulled it back out. I didn't want to put my STI oil pickup, my pump, and some other stuff on this engine before I knew it was good, because I didn't want to waste money and ruin a bunch of good parts. So that's why I pulled it back out. I've got it on the stand. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to check over the timing belt and everything else again, and then put it in. I got to get busting though. So I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you guys think about these JDM engines. I got to see 2 of them, unfortunately. So make sure you like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.